Hey guys, welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily. Today I have compiled 5 of my favorite Christmas DIYs to share with you. I hope it helps you with your holiday decorating. If you have a chance to like and subscribe, I hope you consider doing so. But let's get right into the projects today. I'm going to make a reindeer crossing sign, and I'm going to use this little ornament sign from Dollar Tree. So I'll just remove this top metal portion that I don't need. And I'm using this little wood round that I have to kind of finish off and trace that perfect circular shape so I can cut the top of this sign off. Now, the reason I didn't just use that wood round was because it is kind of warped, and I do want this to have a very flat shape to it. So I'm just going to paint this with 2 or 3 coats of red paint. You can do this in whatever color matches your decor the best. And I will leave a link to this graphic down in my description box. But I just found this on Etsy and I thought it was so darling, and I loved the font that it was in and the little name of all the reindeer around the edges. I thought it was so cute. And the holly and the ivy in the chorus, it does talk about the running of the deer. And I thought, what could be cuter than the running of the deer than to have a reindeer crossing sign to go with it. Now this part would be completely optional, but I like to make everything a little bit more farmhouse. So I do go out into my garage and just cut a few pieces of the salvaged barnwood that we have from one of our barns that we tore down. And I'm just going to make a background for this sign to go against. And to keep all of these pieces together to connect them, I'm just cutting a painter stick here in half that I will use as my piece to hold all of the background together. So you'll kind of see what I do with that here. And then, of course, since it's barnwood, I've got to brush it off and make sure that there's nothing gross on it or anything. So I have these pieces and I just measured them with my sign on the top of it to see how big I wanted to cut it and how much I wanted showing through. Right now, I am just trying to decide if I want like the rougher, more rustic side to show or the smoother side to show. So it's whatever is, preference on this one. Again, this is just absolutely optional. You could easily, if you want to do the whole process I'm doing, do a canvas or do any type of bigger sign that you have and do whatever kind of finish on that you would like. You don't have to have barnwood to do this part. So I'm just using some wood glue on these painter sticks to hold these together, and I quickly realized after I glue this down that this is not exactly how I needed to do this because I need to be able to clamp this down onto the wood. And so I have to move it up a little bit to the edge because these clamps that I have right here were not working for how I wanted to do it. And I decided for a little bit of security to put some wood glue on the inside of my slats. So definitely follow this process I'm doing right here. And then when I place down my cross piece of wood at the top, I put it close enough to the top that I can just use some little, I'm not even sure what type of clamps these are called, just some like hand clamps maybe, just to kind of clip that onto it because that would give it the best hold. And I just let that dry completely. I'm showing you here like I'm hitting this pretty hard and it is not coming apart. You definitely could use some staples or anything in there that you would like to, but I just had the wood glue, so that's what I went with. This sign looks so cute with that barnwood in the background. So again, you could even stop here and just leave it like that because that definitely looks cute. But I am using a piece of styrofoam in the back of this sign, and I'm cutting a bunch of different types of Christmas picks. I got some from Hobby Lobby. It's a mixture of that and Dollar Tree picks. So whatever you have, of course, since I'm going with the holly and the ivy theme, I thought it would be fun to use a lot of holly throughout it. And I did realize the bottom of the barnwood there is not, it's not finished like where I cut it. It's kind of that raw wood. So I'm using antiquing wax on there and it's the exact color of the barnwood. So you can't get much more farmhouse than that. So I will just glue the styrofoam piece into the center there. And I decide that I want to use some E6000 and stick that on there. And then I just hold it until it stays. But you can see how I just go through and I'll place just sporadically how it looks pleasing to my eye is how I go through and place all of these little picks in here all the way around. I just love these little crystal icicle-y looking branches that came from Dollar Tree, and so I just put these on all of my corners. Actually, I think I put a little bit more than all of the corners, but I just love how these look, and I thought they looked so pretty kind of since they were hanging over the edges more. They just brought a little bit of sparkle into it, which sometimes when you're doing farmhouse and barnwood and stuff, it's fun to have a little bit of sparkle like that, kind of glams it up a bit. But I'm just using some E6000 and some hot glue for that long and short-term hold here on the styrofoam. And you know, since hot glue sometimes doesn't work the best with styrofoam, you want to just make sure that you hold this sign down to make sure that it stays. And so I just kind of hold it for a little bit. But look at how cute this is looking. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm taking just some antiquing wax that's left on my brush from when I stained the raw part of the wood, and I just go around the edge to give it a little definition and then just brush it over the top. What it does is kind of make those letters pop a little bit more. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but it definitely made a big difference in person. Right, what do you guys think? Did I do a good job with this one? I am so excited about it. I think it turned out beautifully. You can also add like a hanger on the back if you want to hang it. I love these little sleighs from Dollar Tree. I think even if you left it as is, it's absolutely darling. So, but we're going to kind of take it and match our decor today. So it is kind of coming apart in a few places. And so I do take just some hot glue to make sure that it's sturdy and it's all put together, as well as remove that twine from the top. I will be putting some twine back on it, but we're going to take that off to work with it. Now I sand all of the glitter off that I can because it's covered in glitter, and glitter is fine if you're wanting to use it for your decor, but when you're painting over it, you want to get as much removed as you can. And I'm just going to use some white paint just to cover this to give it the base. I want it primarily to be white. Now on this little top part of the sleigh, this crossbar here, it started to peel off, so I just peeled that off and then sanded it down so that it was kind of like a cardboardy type stuff there. And then I just go back over it with some white paint. I do 2 or 3 coats to kind of make it look really smooth. Now on the little rails of the sled, I do just take my time and I go in with a little detail brush and paint them black, so we have the black and white contrast. And I do take my time with this part so that way I don't hit any of the white paint that I've already done. Now you can cut out a deer from a printable online. I used my cutting machine to cut this out, and I had a few people mention to me to use saran wrap over some delicate decoupage areas with my roller, and I didn't have any saran wrap, but I had a Ziploc bag and it actually worked really well. So thank you guys for the tip there. And that just helps that his little antlers are very delicate, so I just didn't want those to rip or anything on there, but I did just apply that using decoupage. And then I cut out these letters because if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know that I very much struggle with hand lettering. Even my handwriting, my whole life I've struggled with it, guys. And so I just used my cutting machine. Use what you have. You could easily use some stickers from Dollar Tree, whatever. I just thought it would be very cute to have it say hello deer with the little deer on there. Now I'm just taking some wooden beads on a skewer stick, and I'll paint 4 black and 4 red. And I love this method of painting the beads because if you put some painter's tape between them, you can paint 2 separate colors on the same skewer, and it's easy to kind of move them up and down and get in between. This is a very good hack, and I absolutely love it. I thought these would be cute on the little tie that I'm going to do on the top. So I'm just going to take some twine and tie that back onto this first little rail of my sleigh, and then I'm just going to feed these beads on and in every other one pattern there, and then I will just tie it off on that other side. I have this bow that I made for another project that I never used, and so I'm just pulling it out because I thought it would be perfect for this project. It's just some buffalo check ribbon that I just did some like 5 loops on it, so it's got 2 on each side with the 1 in the middle. I'm sorry I don't have any footage of me making this because I made it quite a while ago, and I'm just gluing it onto the side with some hot glue because I thought this sign just kind of needed a little extra fluff or something on it. And so I'm gluing that down, and then what I do with the beads is glue them kind of over on the twine so they stay to the right, so that way you can still see the beads, they don't get lost behind the bow. I think this is such a good alternative to a wreath. I think this would be so cute hanging from a front door. If you do that, make sure you do put decoupage all over it just to protect it all. But I think this turned out absolutely adorable. This DIY was inspired by an ornament that I saw at one of the local craft stores. It was this cute little snowman, and I thought it would be perfect to use these Dollar Tree cubes on. So I just take 3 of those, and then using some wood glue and some hot glue, I just clamp them together just to kind of get that really good hold on these. And I kind of make them a little bit askew. That's how the ornament I saw was, and I thought that was really super cute to kind of give definition. I had these little pieces of scrap wood that I'm just going to cut down to make a little hat out of, but you could easily do this out of anything else that you have, or even another sign or some of the wood pieces you get from Dollar Tree. It was just a couple little pieces that I had. And then I had a little bag of these stars that I recently got. I bought a big bag of a bunch of wood pieces at a garage sale, or a yard sale, and so I'm just using the heck out of all of that stuff. So I'll just color the hat, or paint, not color. We're gonna paint the hat black, and then as you saw earlier, I did paint my snowman in whatever color of white that you have or you want to use, and then I am painting these little stars white as well. And then I'm just taking another one of these stars, and I just kind of cut one of the little points off of them to paint orange for my little carrot nose, but whatever you'd like to use to do that would work fine. I also sanded the edges to kind of give it a very distressed look, and then I'm going to go around with some antiquing wax on all of the edges, and then I'll just kind of brush that on and then lightly wipe it off with the baby wipe just to give a little bit of a stained look and just a little bit more definition. I do the same thing with the hat, just go around the edge with a little bit of antiquing wax on my brush and then just wipe it off. Just again, it just kind of makes the wood look a little bit, I mean, honestly, it looks like toasted marshmallow to me with the snowman with the white and a little bit of stain on there. But anyhow, so I will take the little stars. I'm going to use those as buttons for my little snowman, and I'm just going to kind of sand the edges down. And then just using a little bit of hot glue, I just stick one right there on his little tummy, and then I go ahead and put the other one on the next little block there for his little tummy there. So cute. It's kind of starting to come together. What do you guys think? I don't know. I was really skeptical about how this would look, but I absolutely love it. So I just decide which side I want the hat to go on, and so I will just glue this on top of his head, again just using hot glue, and then I will glue the top portion of his top hat on there. And then just kind of center it as best you can. I don't really measure a lot with it when it comes to centering things. I kind of really like that askewed look. And then his little nose, just a little bit of hot glue. And honestly, you could stop right here and just leave this guy like this. He looks absolutely darling without a face painted on, but I thought I would try and paint a face. And you guys hear me talk about all the time that I never freehand anything, and you may see why here in just a minute. You'll have to let me know how I did. But I put some little eyes on there, just dipping the end of my paintbrush into my paint, and then I do kind of make them a little bit bigger because I want him to have a bit more fuller eyes. And so I kind of I'll go back in and put a little bit more. You can use a dotting tool to do this too, but the end of your paintbrush works just fine. So there's his eyes. So far we're good, but here's the smile. So I do the first little part of my smile, and honestly, it would have been cute if I had just left it like that, but I thought, oh, I'll make it a full curved smile. And again, guys, I am not a painter. I don't freehand a lot. Well, I don't detail paint, but his smile ends up looking okay, I feel like, but it is definitely just kind of a little bit skiwampus. But it's definitely cute and definitely homemade, and I absolutely love it. So I just put a little bit of those little dimple type defining features on the end of his smile there, and I think the face turns out pretty okay. You'll have to let me know what you think. But I take a little bit of Dollar Tree ribbon and I cut it down because I didn't have any of the exact size to fit onto his thing, and I wanted to add a little bit of evergreen into his little hat there. So I just glue each of the ends of the ribbon down here. This is pretty self-explanatory, just using some hot glue and wrapping that around, and you just cut it to size. You could even make like a little scarf for him if you wanted to, if you'd rather not decorate the top hat, or you could do both. And then I will just glue on my little evergreen there and just add some little berries to it. I think this turns out super, super cute. I just take a gold acrylic paint marker and just touch up where the styrofoam shows through. That's just a hack for you guys. If you ever have the styrofoam peeking through on your berries, just take the same color marker and touch it up. But what do you guys think of him? I think he turned out so cute. I am absolutely in love with him, and he was so easy to do. Don't forget that I'm on Instagram also. I love to meet new Insta friends, so I would love for you to come over and say hi, check out my page, and see all the latest projects that I'm working on. I'll be sure and leave a link down in my description box so you can easily find me. I am such a sucker for a really good wreath, and I fell in love with this holiday magnolia wreath, but check out that price. I totally had sticker shock for $110. No way. We definitely can do better. Hobby Lobby has these beautiful magnolia wreaths. They have them year round in their floral section. Their normal price is $50. Guys, do not pay $50 for this wreath. Their floral goes on sale every other week. Buy it when it's 50% off. The quality is unmatched. Even the magnolia floral arrangements and wreaths that I saw at Magnolia Farm in Waco were not anywhere near what this wreath is. So definitely pick one up when you have the chance. The nice thing is I can dress this wreath up for Christmas, and then everything is removable, so I can take it all down and have this wreath for the rest of the year. So I bought 3 evergreen sprigs and cut them down to be 6. And then I bought 1 sprig of berries or pick of berries, and I cut it down to have 6 little sections also. I'm just bending the little stem on the back of the evergreens to kind of mimic the shape of the wreath. And then what I do is hold it really close to that base of the wreath, and then using some floral wire, I just wind it on kind of like a twist tie, if you will. And I'll go sometimes to the front and then to the back, like bring the wire around to the back, twist it, and if it's long enough, bring it back to the front and twist it, if that even makes sense. I'll let you just kind of watch what I do as I twist all of these on, but I just kind of go around sporadically with the wreath, making it symmetrical between the evergreens and then the berries. Before I wire the berries in, I do kind of what I guess you would call a dry fit with all of them to make sure that the spacing is good, that I like the different picks in each different area that I'm placing it. There's such a bold statement on the wreath that I wanted to make sure that they did look really good where they were. I'm going to remember to remove that price tag because I want people to think I bought this at Kirkland's. Look at how good it looks. I love it. You guys, these magnolia wreaths, or the leaves on the wreath, are so easy to manipulate and kind of move around to fill out where you need to. I love them. Here is a look at the inspiration piece from Kirkland's website that was $110. Here is mine. What do you guys think of this one? I love how it turned out. Here it is on my front door, and I would say that less than $40. So from $110 to $40 is not bad. Plus, I can use this wreath year round after I take out the evergreen sprigs and the berries. I've had this little nativity ornament for a little while, and I really felt like if I was to put it on my tree, it might kind of get lost in there, and I really did want to showcase it since we do like to have a lot of decor that does remind us of the true meaning of Christmas and the nativity, and I just love it. It's this little like wrought iron. It's really flat. It's just very simple, very rustic. So I'm just cutting off the little hanger from it with some wire cutters here, and then I will just sand that down so it's not sharp at all. And I just used some elephant chalk paint and some silver lining and just kind of stained these little paint sticks that I got at Lowe's. And you can see how cute that looks. And I'm just doing that to kind of measure for where I want to cut the paint sticks down to, so that way I'll have a background. Now you can do whatever you would like with an ornament like this for a background. This is just to give you some inspiration or some ideas here, but I'll just cut these down. You can cut them down however you would. If you have some miter shears or something like that, that would probably work as well. But you can see that I love the shape of that, how it fits. So I just glue the ends I cut off on the back with some wood glue and hot glue, and that's what's going to hold all of this together. Now I want to brighten it up a little bit, so I'm just using some plaster chalk paint and just doing a very heavy dry brush on here. So that way that kind of rustic metal, it's like a rustish brown color, it's not quite black, will really pop against this, and it's just going to look like really weathered wood there. And I kind of decide that it needs a little something extra, so I stain a few more pieces of my painter sticks, and I'm going to cut them. I'm going to make a little roof line, like a barn roof line on this. So on the ones that I'm going to put on my roof, I do stain a little bit darker, and then you can see those ones I cut at an angle. I'm kind of making a little roof line there and just gluing those with some other little pieces. So there we go, looks kind of like a little barn or a little house. And then I'm just gluing these together for the roof. Now you could easily use one of the little houses that you find at Dollar Tree or whatever you can find, but I thought this was super fun, super cute, and I think it's just gonna look really cute when it's done. So I glue the roof on here, and then I do a little dry brushing on that, and just use some gel super glue to glue this nativity on. Now it looks absolutely beautiful the way that it is here. I just love how simplistic this looks, but you know me, I have to kind of extra everything. So I have some barn wood from a barn that we tore down a little while ago. So I just take a couple of pieces of that. This would be completely optional. You could find anything else that you would like to do with this to add a different background to it. But I really liked the idea of using something that was special to us, like our barn that we tore down and the barn wood from that, and how simple of the nativity with the stable and the wood. I just thought it all went really well, and the special meaning that it had for my family. But this is really all there is to this. It's very simple, but I think it is so beautiful and so elegant, and what a wonderful reminder of the true meaning of Christmas. I would like to thank you guys so much for joining me today to see my 5 favorite Christmas DIY projects I've done this year. I would love to know down in the comments which of these was your favorite, or if you have another project I've done this year that you've loved, let me know down in the comments. I would also like to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a very happy holiday season. And as always, remember to be safe, be smart, be nice, be happy. Choose to have a good day because you are amazing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy holidays. If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, here's another one that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and have an amazing day.